All right, please make yourself comfortable. You can definitely lie if you want. Maybe not stand, be a long time for standing, but sit and find a place where you can be still. You want to give just enough attention to my words. Maybe you don't even need to give any attention to my words at certain points. Just enough attention to my words that you're allowing yourself to alter or access a different part of your brain, different part of your state of awareness. If you think about sleep, sleep is just a different state of awareness. The awareness is constant. The awareness is all the time. And in different aspects of life, you have different states of awareness, or maybe states of consciousness, is a better way of describing it. And so a meditative state, there's lots of different ones. The ancients, the masters had different variations of meditative states, maybe more words than we have to describe it. One thing is you can have a meditative state on an outside object or an inside object, and a breath is different than focusing on a candle flame. Those will create different meditative states. Then you could have a meditative state that's devoid of an object altogether. We like this one a lot. We really think this one's a nice meditative state. But anyone who's focusing on an outside object is having a meditative state. I like this one, objectless state. It's an empty presence. Then there's the meditative state, which is the absence of thought. The absence of thought. Then there's also heightened states where sort of an internal energy can arise, an ecstatic state. It's not necessarily you're focused on an object, but you're just feeling an ecstatic state inside. We like these two. And so you can really have numerous ways of feeling meditated. And for some reason, we don't consider something like reading or listening to someone in conversation. We don't consider that meditative. I don't know why. It's certainly its own state of mind. But that's just semantics. We are, in this practice, looking for one of these altered states of consciousness. The interesting part about it is that when we're trying to evaluate if we've entered one of these different states, we often pull ourselves right out of any opportunity of being there, because we're in this like, is this it sort of mentality. We don't consider that meditative. Or we're trying to facilitate something by overly focusing on it, trying to make it happen. This is just like an inner version of what we do in much of our day to day life. So just listen enough to my words. Just listen enough to your own inner words, your inner monologue. And see if you don't find some moments in our time together where you've slipped into you've slipped into a mental space. It's different. It's different than the normal day-to-day pattern. In my experience, any of it can be appreciated but it's important that we know it for ourselves. One of the main things that we focus on in this sort of sitting practice, it is a sort of object and objectless type of meditation because we are focusing a little bit, especially in the beginning. But what are we focusing on? Now, sometimes we start with our breath, we start with some mental exercise, then eventually, or my guidance, but eventually we work into this focusing on the thing that's watching, right? You're trying to focus your attention on the place that is watching or on some internal energy. And what will happen is if you can sustain that, we slip into this unconscious, conscious perception where we don't really realize that that's what we're doing anymore. It just happens. It's just happening. So we're watching this, looking for this energy or this sensation of what is watching. And whether we find it or not, the sustained effort will pull us into a space that feels a little altered. We just slip into it, where then we don't really know where we are, what's going on, what time it is. Yet there's also no concern for that. We can just rest peacefully in this nebulous, not knowing existence. Let yourself gradually pass through these apparent layers. It's like you're traveling from your average waking state, and you're traveling a distance into this more elusive, less popular, less frequented, altered state. And all you have to do is sort of begin this journey of letting your attention turn. It turns away from your normal day to day things. You've already done that by sitting still and closing your eyes. And instead of letting that mind race and tell stories, you eventually start to look away from that. You look into the place or for a place that is the awareness. You're looking for the place that is observing where your thoughts come from. You're looking for the consciousness that knows you're having thoughts. And whether you find it or not, just the sustained effort of looking back, you will almost accidentally slip into a place beyond it, beyond the normal day to day state. And it's very enjoyable to just be there for a little while. See what comes up. Eventually, you'll get pulled out for one reason or another, and you just resume the process again. Giving yourself the opportunity to know how to distance yourself from your normal day to day state of attention, of thoughts running around. Let's try it for a little while. You don't have to find this awareness. You just have to look for it with attention and focus for a little while until you slip off the normal day to day waking state for something else. You just take a moment to reflect. Did you slip into any of these places? Maybe it was just a daydream, but maybe around the daydream, around your mind chatter of thoughts, around your wondering, why am I doing this? There was another place, quieter place, more spacious place, some open real estate in your mind. There weren't any billboards with habits and thoughts and stories. All you have to do is look for a little bit of sustained attention. Look elsewhere than where you're used to looking. We spend so much time looking through our senses, looking at our inner narrative. Just give a little time, a little bit of focus. Don't overwork, and see if you can't find elsewhere. The senses and the inner narrative, they might still be there, but they'll linger. They'll feel further away as this elsewhere takes shape. What I consider a more open aspect of the mind, a quieter and calmer area to rest your attention. Just look for it. Don't try to force the other areas away. You might be in your senses again, body sensation, hearing my words, seeing whatever your eyes are seeing, the inside of your eyelids. You might be in a little inner narrative. Don't force them away. What we're looking for, it's right next to it. It's just on the other side, just around the corner. You don't have to push those things away to find it. Just give a little bit of attention to this area of watching, of open space, another aspect of the mind, and see how you feel. Growing into open mindedness, just open to the possibility, states of mind that don't feel like the five senses, that don't feel like just inner blah blah narrative, Doesn't feel like a daydream. Just open to something else, elsewhere. You look for those places with a little bit of sustained effort. Don't force your way into it. Almost like it's already there, this other space. You just haven't been paying attention. And now you are. Teachers make it sound so grandiose. Finding your true self, the non dual reality. Do these terms just make it more elusive? As we tap into the part of us that is seeking something very simple and basic, we just want a little break from how things are going, a little shift. We're not seeking some big life changing thing, just wanting to be with ourselves. Perhaps it can be that simple. It can be that easy. Instead of trying to get away from the thoughts, just look elsewhere, not at something elusive or hidden. Just not your habit for now. As you find this place, the edge of the known, there's those grandiose terms again. As you find this open space in the mind, it can become habit, it can become home, common, regular. But you'll have to feel at ease in it. Trust that you know where it is. Trust it's right there. And be at ease in it. These open areas of the mind. That feel different than sensations and thoughts. As you grow comfortable there, elsewhere won't feel like elsewhere. It'll feel like here. As you grow comfortable in these open spaces of the mind, it grows, it deepens to go into your thoughts, to go into the body senses, is to go outward, to go outside, and it'll start to lose its luster. In these open spaces in the mind, it's quieter and calmer and more peaceful than these more habit oriented places like thoughts and body sensations. It's these habit oriented places, thoughts, body sensations. That's where you're visiting. This more open area of the mind where it's quieter, calmer, more peaceful. That's home. That's where you started. That's where you end. And it's there all the while, even when you visit your thoughts and your body sensation. See if you can remember this, something that you've known for a long time. The open space of your mind, that's home. relax from the practice.